Hi, how are you doing? Today we are gonna do my April wrap up. I have the hiccups though, so it's gonna be weird like cuts and everything. I apologize. So April was actually a really good reading month for me, so let's get over the stats. And total I read 17 books, which amounted to 6,970 pages read, which is an average of 410 pages per book and 232.33 pages per day, which honestly those are the highest stats of the year in all of those categories so far, so that's great. And for format, we have 5 books I owned, 2 ebooks, 5 library books, and 5 galley, so a great spread there as well. And then for rating, I have 1 1 star, 5 2 stars, 4 3 stars, 4 4 stars, and 3 5 stars. Isn't that incredible? And an average rating of 3.17. So that average rating is a little bit low, but 3 5 stars? Who is she? And for age range, I have 3 young adult books, 2 new adult books, and 12 adult books. And genre, I have 4 contemporary, 5 historical, 5 fantasy, 2 mystery thrillers, and 1 paranormal. And yeah, let's just go over the books that I read this month and what I thought of them. Starting off with Daisy Haites by Jessa Hastings, which I gave 5 stars to. This is the second book in the Magnolia Parks universe. Even though I wasn't the biggest fan of the first book in the series, that's just because of those main characters. This one follows 2 different main characters, follows Daisy and follows Christian, and also follows Daisy's older brother Julian. So we followed 3 very different characters in this book that we did in the first one, which made me very excited to check it out, especially because we did get a glimpse of Daisy and Christian's relationship in the first book. Christian is quite a bit in that, but like the relationship between them is a very minor part of it. And I really loved getting to see that relationship develop throughout this book. It is very much still a dysfunctional relationship. It's not all of a sudden happy-go-lucky times. It's not. It's very dysfunctional, very angsty. But opposite of BJ and Magnolia from book 1, I actually feel like these two like each other. I totally understand why they are together, why they want to spend time together. Just that their dysfunction comes from kind of like personal issues more so. Then next I read The 7 Year Slip by Ashley Poston, which I actually also gave 4 to 5 stars. This one I actually wasn't expecting to like as much as I ended up doing. I mean, I was hoping that I really enjoyed because I had heard so many great things about it. But when I first started it, it took me some time to get into. But then it snuck up on me and made me cry without me realizing it, and I did really enjoy it. I think it's a very cute romance, while also doing a great job at packing its emotional punches. I really liked her main character, kind of her development. I loved the love interest. He was amazing. My favorite character of this book, easily. I just would have wanted a bit more development from the romance because it is kind of incel love, but I did really like it, and I also like the little time travel element to it. Then next I read The Sum of All Kisses by Julia Quinn, which I gave 5 stars. This is the third book in the Smith Quartet, and honestly this whole series has been a 3 star for me so far, and this was no exception. At first I was liking it more, and I thought, oh, I'm finally gonna get a 4 star from the series, but then kind of I felt that the relationship was a bit underdeveloped in the end, and just I don't know, didn't wow me. Then next I read Silver Shadows by Richelle Mead, which I gave 4 to 5 stars to. This is the 5th book. Yes, it's the fifth book in the Blood series, which itself is a spin-off of the Vampire Academy series, and I have been making my way through the series very slowly, but I have been enjoying my time with it. This one I really enjoyed. With the way the last book left off, I was hoping to really enjoy this one, and I did. I kind of want a bit more from it. I feel like in this book we kind of take a bit of a detour, which makes sense, and I liked it. I think a lot of interesting stuff happened, but I just feel like this later on in the series, because there's only 1 book left, I feel like that detour was just a bit too much of a detour. I feel like in B plot we could have gotten a bit more of like some of the other elements of this story instead of just completely abandoning them, which left me just a tad disappointment. But overall, this was a really quick read. Then next I read Trouble by Lex Croucher, which I gave 2 to 5 stars and I got from NetGalley, and this one just ended up feeling a bit flat for me, which is such a disappointment because I really enjoyed the other books Lex Croucher has written. They were all very consistently a very decent 4 star for me, and like not one that I've absolutely loved, but I've totally enjoyed them all. So this one just, it didn't really work for me. I didn't really like the love interest I didn't really buy the romance that much. I do think they had some cute moments, like their meet cute was everything to me. I really enjoyed that, and therefore I again was hoping the most from it. But the love interest, I thought he was an asshole. And I don't feel like he got redeemed properly throughout the book. And I just also feel like the romance was just a tad bit underdeveloped. And I don't know, I really love the cast of side characters though. Like, I would fight for them. They were great. Then next, actually did a reread of Romancing Mr Bridgerton by Julia Quinn, which was yet another 5-star. Not yet another, but like yet again was a 5-star. I when the trailer for Bridgerton season 3 dropped, I just got the desperate urge to want to reread this, and I just did. I said fuck it. Also annotated it this time around, which was a lot of fun as well. I love Colin and Penelope. They're my favorite Bridgerton characters. Penelope, #1 spot. Colin just a tad bit under that. And I really love that love story. It's friends to lovers in the best way possible. It's so good. We also get a lot of Lady Whistledown in this book. I really enjoyed that B plot to this as well. And I don't know, I had such a fun time reading this. And next, I read Bringing Down the Duke by Evie Dunmore, which I gave 2 to 5 stars to. There's another one that didn't really end up working for me. I did read this in one day though, so there's at least that to it. But I just thought it was really boring, and the romance just didn't really grip me. Again, I thought the guy in this one was just an asshole, and it just didn't really make for a great read. Then next, I read The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson, which I gave out of 5 stars. Is anyone surprised? So in March, I read The Final Empire. Really enjoyed it. It just barely was not a 5-star. I immediately ordered book 2 and 3. So of course in April I had to get around to book 2, and it just was fucking fantastic. This was everything I was hoping for. It's so good. It's such a good sequel. I really love the direction this plot goes in and what it does with the world. We also get to learn a lot more about the world. We are at the start of a new empire, I guess, for this world, and I thought that was really interesting. It's very politics heavy, which I really enjoy. I really love politics heavy fantasy. That's like the main critique I've seen of this book, is that it was too politics focused, but I ate the shit up, and I thought this book was very interesting in that aspect. So well thought out and very well crafted. I still absolutely adore our characters, and the development they go through in this book is very interesting. And also the ending of this book might have broken my brain. Like, the way one tiny reveal just flips this whole thing on its head, and it just makes you rethink every single thing you read in the book, and just so incredible. Then next, I read Portrait of a Scotsman by Evie Dunmore, which I gave 2 to 5 stars to. This is the 3rd book in the same series as Bringing Down the Duke. I forgot the name of it. A League of Extraordinary Women, that's the title. And I honestly, when I started this book, I was really hyped because I really liked the setup for the romance. I thought this was really interesting. This like, how do you call it? It's not really a marriage of convenience, but you know, they were caught in a compromising position and now they have to get married kind of situation, and neither of them kind of are planning for it. And I thought that's the way that setup was done was really interesting and different from other books that have that setup that I've read before, and I really liked how that was executed. It's just that at a certain point in this book, things just kind of flipped for me, where I already wasn't the biggest fan of our male main character. He just got even more on my nerves as the book continues. The female main character, I thought, became really annoying and very privileged without realizing it, and this was, I don't know, she gave me the ick so much. And then the romance, I just thought was very poorly developed, so it kind of like dunked off towards that latter half. But like the first part of this, I really was enjoying. And then next, I read Missing Clarissa by Ripley Jones, which I gave 2 to 5 stars as soon as I got it from NetGalley. Objectively, this is just not a good book. I'm gonna say this outright. The writing is not great. The characters feel like teenage girls written by an adult man, you know. Yeah, that's very obvious. I also thought they were very annoying, and the plot was very unrealistic. The mystery was just not mystery-ing. It's very obvious we did it, but at the same time, this was such an addicting read. Like, I could not put it down. Then next, I read Gallant by Schwab, which I gave 2 out of 5 stars to. This is kind of a disappointment to me. I do know that this is V. Schwab's like least liked book, at least in like places I've seen a lot of people have been reading this negatively, just like not clicking with it, and that's also like my problem. I do think it is a well-crafted story. It was very interesting. I really like the main characters, and also throughout the book there are these illustrations, and of course I can find one when I try to show you. Throughout the book there are some illustrations, and I do think they're absolutely gorgeous and really enhance the story. I also think it's very atmospheric. I like the writing, it was a very quick read. It's just that it never fully clicked with me. There's just something about it that I didn't really connect to it. Then next I read Queen of Shadows by Sarah J Maas, which I gave 0 to 5 stars. This was just very filler. It was too long for its own good. There are some things that happen here that are very big important things, but they're very few and far in between, and I feel like they're over in like 2 chapters time, and they're not very long chapters. There's just a whole lot of just like nothing in this book. Then next I read The Gathering by CJ Tudor, which I gave 0 to 5 stars to, and is a guy I got from NetGalley. And this is one that actually, again, I really enjoyed when I started this book. It's The Curse of April for me, because this is a like classic murder mystery, except there's vampires involved, and I thought that whole premise and setup was so interesting. And I really also liked the character of following. I thought she was really interesting, but and just kind of the whole dynamics of vampires within this world, kind of like the politics around that. The mystery setup was interesting, and very quickly, relatively quickly within this novel, we get like a big reveal that kind of turns the case a little bit on its head. And I thought, okay, this is gonna be like such a fun time because I'm already like revealing shit, and then it just like hit stand still, and it stayed there for so long, and almost nothing happened for like the rest of the book. And then I feel like the reveal was just very quick again, therefore anticlimactic, and a lot of kind of more like these side explanations just happened off page. Then next I read Late Bloomer by Mazey Eddings, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars to, and as a guy from NetGalley. This was such a delightful romance. It's so I don't know, just nice. It feels like a warm hug, and it's not like it doesn't deal with more difficult topics, because it does. Grief is a very discussed topic throughout this book, and also parental abandonment and some other stuff. And I do think those things were tackled well. It just that still somehow the way it was done just kind of felt very delightful and very nice and very and the romance was really adorable. I really like the main characters. They're very just like very vibrant characters that really spun on the page. Yeah, Lex about the Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V. Schwab, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars to. Oh my god, I wasn't expecting to love this one as much as I did. Like the other 2 5 stars this month were Mr Bridgerton and Well of Ascension. I saw comment from miles away. Obviously Mr Bridgerton because it was a reread, but also the Well of Ascension, I just had a gut feeling. This one I did not see coming. I was hoping to really like it, and of course I've heard a lot of stellar reviews of this book, but still I wasn't expecting this to be a 5-star, but it definitely was. It's a very slow, quiet read. Not a whole lot happens in it. It's kind of more slice of life in a way, but also like not really. It's a bit complex, but it's a quiet story. It doesn't have like any shouty big moments in it, and it's such a good read. I loved it. It's very impactful. I loved Addie LaRue. I loved other characters in this book as well. I loved seeing both past and present, and how those timelines kind of were woven into each other were great. I don't know. The writing also just gorgeous, and I loved it. Then next I read The Traitor Queen by Daniel L. Jensen, which I gave 1 out of 5 stars to, and this was such a disappointment. Last year I read the first book in the series and I gave it 3 stars. I didn't love it as much as most people seem to, but I was excited to continue on with the series, and I thought to at least like this as much as I did that first one, if not even a little bit more. But I hated this. I hated every second of this. I thought it really wasn't good. I thought it was incredibly boring. Absolutely nothing happened in it. Characters made some of the most stupid decisions to have ever been made. The big climax moment that we've been leading up to these entire 2 books was over in like a millisecond, and I just felt like, and we made such a big deal about this, and it was that easy. I don't know, it didn't work for me. And I also feel like the author completely forgot that it was a fantasy romance. Like there was nothing romance in this book. Then lastly for this one we have The Prospects by Katie Hoffman, which I gave 3 to 5 stars to, and as I got from NetGalley. This is another one that started off great for me and didn't fail. It failed to deliver, which is sad. But again, I thought the setup for this one was really cute. I really liked our main character. We had a lot of side characters in the start, and I really enjoyed the dynamic between, this is a baseball romance, and I really enjoyed the team dynamic. And then kind of the book continued, and it was a lot of baseball. As someone who does not know like barely knows anything about baseball. I could not picture those scenes in my head. I feel like it wasn't explained well enough either. I kept getting lost in those scenes, and then I also feel like all of the fun parts I really enjoyed about it kind of like fizzled to the wayside, and the romance felt extremely underdeveloped to me. But yeah, that's everything I read this month. Let me know in the comments what you thought of these books, if you've read them, as well as on the books you read in the month of April, and then hopefully I'll see you around next time. Bye.